show. What a show we just had prior to starting the show. Good God. Good Lord. Welcome to the program. My name is Dean. It is Thursday, and we were so stoked as a group, all three of us, me specifically this guy, to have Robb Wells, Trailer Park Boy, new movie called Vandits from Swearnet. You may remember Rob. I think he's the fucking bee's knees. Dude is awesome. And we were supposed to have him on to talk about his new Christmas movie called Vandits. It's about a couple of guys that decide they want to rob a bingo hall of the $25,000 caper. And the old folks put up a fight. I read about it. I went through the press kit. I fucking like a huge Robb Wells fan, massive huge. Robb Wells fan, Same. Massive Bubbles fan, huge Trailer Park Boys fan, big John Dunsworth fan, loved the inclusiveness of the show. I had a million questions to ask him. He was excited to be here, and we tested audio for a good 20 minutes and nada. And Rob had to take off because he's busy and we don't keep him. He's promoting this movie, Vandits, which is coming out very shortly, and we're going to talk about it as well. He promised he's going to come back, but just as video proof that we had Rob on and we were ready to go with Rob, and there's Lachlan Cross pissing his pants laughing at the audio issues, and there's Ryan shitting himself laughing at me because during that entire 20 minutes, Rob's trying everything he can to connect, and his shitty hotel Wi-Fi wouldn't work. And these two jerk-offs, like literally the entire time, see what Lachlan's doing there? You see what he's doing? Licking a spoon?
This is when you were
the
talking
entire
to us like
time,
a dad.
We're trying to get Robb Wells on. We're trying to figure out his audio. He's excited. We're excited. It's Ricky. Ricky was here. And the entire time, Rob's trying to do this. And if anybody has tried to figure something out on the computer and had more than 3 people yelling at him, telling him what to do, you understand
I like my
where
nickel
I'm going
idea.
with this. But here's the
interesting
and
hold
part.
a bunch of nickels.
This
that was
is
good.
all
That was good.
you
that was probably the
did
most scientific.
for 20 minutes. You were like that annoying heckler in the corner of the room. Rob's like, I don't know what's going on here, boys. I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't we try this? And there's you in the corner going, why don't you go get an antenna, Rob?
Hold a hanger. Hold a coat
I asked
hanger.
him if he had a metal hanger.
Rob, how about sticking your hand out the window? Hey, Rob, go get some tinfoil and fashion a hat, and maybe that'll work. Rob. And then there's Ryan, who also is, no offense, a little bit more technically inclined, but equally as tech simple as we are. I mean, all of us are on the level. Then there's Ryan's going like this. I think what you need to do is go into the Google Chrome. And I'm like,
well, we tried
let's be serious. None of us know what we're doing with tech.
I know exactly what we were doing. And then I saw what happened when he came back. He was still on his MacBook, and that was the problem. He thought we meant just shut the hotspot off. I meant go on your phone. I don't think he actually changed to his phone. That was the problem. So, but hey, mute my mic and we lose Robb Wells. But I'm the idiot.
No, you're not the idiot. We're all idiots. None of us know what we're doing.
I deserve to have my mic muted.
You did.
Yes. But you ruined it, Locke, because then he got mad and muted me too, and I couldn't actually fix the problem.
Well, that's because
you were laughing. You were laughing at me.
I know. It's because you're a bad influence.
You guys were laughing.
So
I'm sweating because I got like big time actor on the show, piece of Canadiana. I'm like, I hope this works. He's dressed up. He says he's looking forward to it. Pam Stillman with the production company, she's helped me set this up with emails back and forth. We're going to reschedule, by the way. Robb Wells is going to come back. He's like, you looking forward to doing it. We'll get another time.
Ricky.
We'll figure it out. Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys, who, by the way, still the best character in the history of television, and was dying to talk to him about the similarities between Pat King and himself in that show. Like, not Pat King and Robb Wells, but Pat King and Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys. Yeah. It was just like the resurgence. This is him in the actual movie. I can't wait to fucking see it. But the resurgence of the Trailer Park Boys because of the Convoyers, it would have been fucking brilliant to have him on today. My God, it was time to talk to him. There's Jann Arden's in this movie as well. It's called Vandits. Very funny lady. Maybe one of the funniest people ever. And the movie is coming out pre-Christmas, and we're going to have Robb Wells back. But I just wanted to tell you guys, none of us.
Jann is quite entertaining. She is quite entertaining.
Yeah. She is.
Bit of a anger. Like I saw her blow up a couple of times at backstage at a show.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was at me too. Because I
What did
went
she say
out
to you?
at the wrong time, did the intro. She flipped out on me.
Well, that's
she say?
insensitive.
Well, just so you know, I know you. There's an excellent chance you did it on purpose.
I
see
know.
what happened.
Yeah.
No, I was drunk. That one wasn't intentional.
Oh,
If I go to shows, I'm usually
blasted.
Pretty geared down.
and it's evening, right?
Mhm.
When the sun goes down, old Locker's pants come off and drinks start flowing.
Anyway, very upset we couldn't get Rob on the show today, but we'll have him back on the program. And he was just a gentleman, so nice. He was like, "Don't worry, boys, we'll get it again." But if you get a chance, you can Google the movie Vandits and have a look at it. Brilliant. I was so excited. Look at that. Like, tell me these aren't the same person. I think it's season 20.
No
Trailer Park
kidding.
Boys. Pat King, Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys. Pat King, Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys. And an interesting part of this is when they were making the movie, they were making it in Winnipeg. You know this to be true. Winnipeg's, but you can't put anything down for more than 3 seconds in Winnipeg without it being gone, right? You know this. This is a story out of Winnipeg. When they were shooting the movie,
not that
it's bad. When they were shooting the movie Vandits, the film crew said they had all their gear stolen. $250,000 worth of gear.
Stolen in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. That's something that happens
Yeah.
in Winnipeg. You and I both know that. Yeah. Anyway, fascinating.
It does.
Really,
a lot of bands actually complain about Winnipeg.
Because they keep having their shit stolen.
People have stolen gear and stuff like that. Yeah. It's an issue. It can be. Yeah.
Anyway, good to see you guys. Nice to see you. Sorry that we couldn't get Robb Wells on the show. We got lots of stuff to talk about.
I never watched Trailer Park Boys.
You haven't seen it?
Never watched it.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
said that.
God. It's so good. You know, the one thing I binged it.
It's such a show that.
And the one thing I thought when I watched it is, I can't believe I didn't watch it when it was out, and I shit on it. You know how you don't watch something and you shit on it just because you're not watching it, just so you're not, left out in the cold and you want to feel kind of cool. And that's what I did with the Trailer Park Boys on the radio one day. I'm like, I don't watch that shit. And then the pandemic started, and I'd met those guys, and it was funny because, like I said, I didn't watch them. And my buddy Jeremy got back to Mike Smith, and he's like, "Hey, Dean doesn't like your show." And then they came to host the Casby Awards, which is this music show that we used to put on all the time.
Yep.
So we concocted this thing where Mike Smith and I, Bubbles, Julian, the rest of the morning show got in one of those classic Trailer Park Boys fights right on stage. But a lot of people in the crowd thought it was serious. Like a lot of people thought it was real because it was pretty good. It was a pretty good little fight, and it was funny. We were walking off the stage, and Mike Smith and I have each other, Bubbles and I having each other, and he leans in and gives me a hug. He goes, "I think we got them all riled up there, Diener." And then he gives me a hug, and we go back into the change room, and we have a couple of drinks. You won't find nicer individuals on this planet than Ricky, Julian, Bubbles. You just won't. In real life, you're hard pressed to find better people, better citizens. And if you haven't watched Trailer Park Boys, you know what you'll get out of it that I got out of it? They were the most inclusive television show in Canadian history.
They really were.
Like, super inclusive, from LGBTQ to letting people be who they are and still loving them and being family members. Interracial relations. I mean, it was ahead of its time. Yeah. And when you watch it, you're like, "Oh, these guys are just fucking idiots getting drunk, doing heists and stuff." No. There is a serious familial undertone to it, and an inclusive undertone to it, to the point where you're like, "How did I not watch this show?" And this was recorded and filmed and done 20 years ago, right? That's the insight. 20 years ago, we didn't have those proclivities and those sensitivities. Somehow, these guys did. And it's incredible. Like Ellen Page, who's now Elliot Page, was Leahy's daughter on the program.
Yeah.
And the support that those guys gave Elliot Page and continue to give Elliot Page, because that's where she got her start, is truly incredible. And same thing with the people that were involved in the John Gameshi thing. Lucy DeCutter, the support that those guys give other people, and all they do is skits. They love to get high, make pretzel hats, and do dumb shit, and they still do the dumb shit. but they never, ever, ever made anybody feel like less of a person. Like they never went after groups. They never went after people, which is why I respect those guys so much more than I did before I started watching the show. I just thought it was skits, guys getting drunk, acting like idiots, which it is. And it's brilliant the way that they do it and how they've done it. But more importantly, they had this familial ability to be able to include everybody, which was incredible to me. It was like, my God, there's a way you can be hard and full of empathy and full of love. And at the end of the show, specifically the end of the series, when you watch it, you're like, they hate each other. It's a microcosm, but it's a family and it's unconditional love in that family, which was the trailer park. But it was fucking brilliant. Just a brilliant, brilliant series. I encourage everybody to go.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it right out of the gate either. I think it started like season 4 is when I finally went, what is this shit people keep talking about? And I was thinking this. I had the same that preconception you had, and I was like, what the fuck was wrong with me? Why haven't I? And then I was hooked.
Yeah.
And I even I signed up for that Swearnet. I actually had a subscription to their Swearnet, their actual their website, and the content they put out on that is phenomenal.
It's incredible. If you haven't been to their Swearnet site, to your point, I'll play you something from it. They do kind of what we do, but it's skit related. So they've got a whole bunch like who's the other guy from Fubar? They do TNT Fubar. It's Diener and the other guy.
Terry.
Yeah.
Terry's on Terry does TNT Fubar for them. Then they got like a talk show with a couple of ladies that are from out east, and it's fucking outrageous. Yeah. And then Julian Bubbles still do their thing, but they do a podcast as himself at Swearnet, which is brilliant. This is a little clip from it where he was trying to get Bubbles.
So they do. Hold on.
Try the go ahead.
They do a podcast as themselves or as their characters.
No, they do both. They do unboxings. They do a podcast as their characters and as themselves. This is the one of themselves. Watch it together. It's
I'd like
funny.
to know your name.
Pretzel hat.
Pretzel hat.
Dig in, boys.
Take a bite out of it? Or?
No, there's pretzels in here.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, there is. Are they fucking safe to eat or?
Pretzel hat.
It's a weird pretzel, man. What a weird flavor. The fuck is that?
They were up my hole.
Tangy.
I met Mike Smith in the 90s when he was in Sandbox.
Yeah.
They were pushing a single called Curious, and they were touring. I think they signed to Network Records, and they were touring across the country. Yeah. What's that?
Network with 2Ks. That was Sarah McLachlan's label, I think. Yeah.
So anyway, he showed up in the band. We were playing them at the time. He's related to Anne Murray on some level, like nephew or fuck, I don't know. But I never watched it. And the reason I didn't is because I lived with those. I grew up with those people, like in Yak, and I was like, why would I want to watch that dysfunction?
Whole movies.
The day I graduated, we had our all-night party. I went home. I went to bed. I got up in the afternoon. I packed my car and I drove away. And I waved goodbye to Yak, BC. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. That's a true story. And so when somebody started to explain Trailer Park Boys to me a lot less eloquently than you did, Dean, I was like, I went to school with those people. Those people are still back in Yak. Why the fuck would I watch a TV show with those idiots?
To laugh at it. You laugh at your past, baby.
Watched that show. I never did, and I still to this day.
You have to. Yeah, it might be a trigger. So what you're saying is you couldn't watch Trailer Park Boys because it was a trigger of your childhood. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it would have brought back some childhood trauma. I'm sure of it.
I've never heard anybody say they've been triggered by the Trailer Park Boys. This is a first for me. That's amazing.
I have no idea how you grew up. That's incredible. Did you live in? Did you live in a trailer park? Is that where you grew up? Like
no, but we might
in a house,
as well.
Tent? Yeah, small house, little tiny community.
But
you understand that community of poor people that are just trying to make it work. So that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the culture, right? That's what you're saying. You didn't grow
the Chevy Vandura is kind of like a trailer.
Yes, it is.
Well, the house that we moved into was literally a shack on a piece of land that my stepfather bought. There was no running water, and we shit outside, and we had a big cast iron tub that we'd fill up with water from the Moyer River. We had big 4-gallon buckets. We'd drive the the red truck down to the water, fill the buckets up, come back, dump them in, and then we do like rock, paper, scissors to see who got to go first, because that was the clean water, right?
Didn't he make an addition on the house with the van too?
He drove an old milk van, parked it beside the house, and then insulated, and then with a chainsaw cut a fucking hole in the van, or in
it's
the
total Trailer Park
in the
Boys.
shack.
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, I swear to God, I should show you pictures. And I lived in that house.
Wait a second.
Built us a house.
So you buy a shack, and then he gets a milk truck and he parks it nice and tight right up next to the house, the shack, and then he cut a hole in the shack and cut a hole in
with
the
a
milk
chainsaw.
truck with a chainsaw like a badass, and he insulated the whole thing. And then that was the addition to the house
there and duct tape. Yeah, and that's where my mom and Peter slept.
Oh, that was the master bedroom. Oh,
that was the master bedroom, and then we had a wood stove in the middle of the shack, and dude, I grew up really weird. We had no TV. When he finally built a house, I think I was in grade 10 when he built the house. He's a great carpenter. When he had enough money to frame it and build it, and we moved into it. We had a TV. And we had an old beta machine attached to it. So we'd go to the Yak General store and we'd get movies, and we'd have Friday night movies. That was the only television that we had. And outside of that, it was radio. And I used to sit in my room, do my homework, and listen to radio stations on this old clock radio that I got from my grandmother that, for whatever reason, picked up everything on the planet. And you just move it. And I would and then they would be there for a half an hour, and then I'd get another station. And that's probably why I was obsessed with radio when I was a kid, because it was like back at that point, I remember thinking I want to get into radio.
That's fascinating.
So we'd literally,
really
our recreation was like tubing down the river, like, spearing sucker fishes.
Don't forget about sledding behind a truck with a chain and a sofa.
Yep. That was fun. The other thing was we'd take Roman candles. We'd buy Roman candles, and we'd light them and chase each other around with them. And you'd have like a 10-shot Roman candle, and then the next guy would get his lit, and then you're running like an asshole. Yeah. That was popular sport.
Running like
we
an
were
asshole.
Morons. Yeah, we were morons when we were kids. So people are like, you should watch Trailer Park Boys. And I went, no, I spent 5 years living that.
You were just like the West Coast version of the Trailer Park Boys is what you guys were. Yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
Fascinating. I had no idea you lived like that. I thought it's like, it's funny because when you tell stories about your childhood, I think you're exaggerating. I think you're doing the old, I grew up poor. But now it's all come together. Now, the boomer rage is starting to come together. You know, the 6 drinks a night starting to come together. The idea that you didn't watch Trailer Park Boys when, you're like in the demo. You should be wearing a Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles shirt. That's how much a guy like you should love it. But because of how you grew up, you're like, I can't go back there. That's why you're turning into a slumlord. It sounds like that motivates you too. It's like, I'm never not going to have a place to live again. So what I'm going to do is buy as many houses in Western Canada as I fucking possibly can.
Well, when you grow up poor, I think what ends up happening too is you end up being, you're cheap. Like I'm a cheap dick. And we're also, my wife and I are both really good with money. We don't have money, but we're good with it. We pay our bills on time, always have. We paid off, we zero our credit cards every month. We've always been like that cup. So what the banks do is they go, you just here's more. Here's more credit. Here's more credit. So what we've done is we've just maxed the shit out of what the banks are willing to give us. We don't have any more money than anybody else.
Yeah, you just paid your bills, and the bank's like, hey, listen, these guys are a good bet. Let's try and see if we can sink them with debt.
That's all it is. That's all it is, everybody. You don't actually have to make money.
That's
just leverage the shit out of yourself.
Yeah,
that's why I always get bothered. And listen, I realize the homelessness
and buy the insurance.
Yeah, the homelessness issue is a big one, and it's a difficult one to navigate. And I feel bad for the people that are not living in a home and are like sleeping in the fucking river valley. I truly do.
Yeah.
But I'm always a little bit irked when somebody asks me for money, because I'm like, dude, do you realize I'm millions of dollars in debt? Like millions. I have no money. You probably have more in your cup in front of
liquidity
you than I have. Yeah. You're way more liquid than I am.
Yeah.
And you need what? You need me to
$100.
Yeah, give you $20 so you can go get a burger at no.
Hey,
Because
you
I'm
know
gonna be
who's
putting this on my credit card.
do you know who will never know the feeling that you're talking about? Ryan Reynolds' kids.
Ooh, that's true.
They will never know what it's like to grow up poor. They will never know. I mean, they're going to grow up with a sense of humor. Obviously, Blake Lively's her mom, so they're all probably going to be good-looking people. But I read a report today that said Ryan Reynolds publicly is worth about $150 million. Privately, he's worth about $1 billion. Now,
Is that true?
yes, and I'll
It's gotta
explain that real quick. So Ryan Reynolds, who's got a new movie coming out called Spirited. We'll get to that in just a second. Ryan Reynolds, newsflash, and this is how I know this. Yesterday, a news report comes out that he's thinking of buying the Ottawa Senators, but the goal is he wants to keep them there. Like he's like, but we're not moving, and we're going to have a new arena because I want it to stay in Ottawa. It's the nation's capital. I love Canada. That's what he said. And I'm like, he can't afford that. And then I went through a bunch of information. His Mint Mobile thing's worth about $2 billion. $2 billion. He's got a series from Netflix that paid him a couple $100 million called Welcome to Wrexham. He makes about $30 to $50 million per movie. He's got 5 of those coming out this year. 5.
He's got 5 movies coming out
5
in 2023
from now until then that he is involved in directing. He's also has got his own production company, which produces a bunch of movies. He's got a huge marketing company called Mint Marketing, which helps other people now, not just himself, right? Because he's a marketing genius.
Yeah.
He is.
So this broke yesterday. Report. This is real. Interested in buying the Ottawa Senators. Ryan Reynolds interested in buying team, keeping them in Ottawa if they go up for sale. Now, the daughters of Eugene Melnick, who are the owners of the team, because Eugene died last year, if I remember correctly. R.I.P. God rest his soul, whatever. His daughters are like, we only want to sell to someone that wants to keep them in the business. Both of his daughters, somewhat attractive. Also, they live in L.A., and they're big fans of his. This is going to happen.
Oh, for sure.
You think so?
Ryan Reynolds is going to buy the Ottawa Senators on top of owning a professional soccer team in England, on top of being the most bankable star in the universe, on top of revolutionizing
I think he's still liquid on that gin.
Oh,
aviation gin. Oh, yeah. That's, by the way, worth $1.4 billion. Aviation gin brand.
Yeah.
Which he puts in all his movies. So this guy networks and might be the greatest businessman / actor / content guy in the universe. I don't know anybody this good. He's like Kanye, only not bipolar and seemingly normal. Yeah. And doesn't make anti-Semitic marks. Like he can't do anything wrong. Ryan Reynolds is everything, to the point where he put this out today.
Oh, that's amazing.
The Ottawa, and then I started thinking, oh my God, what? That's what this world needs is more owners like
him. Yeah.
Like that play superheroes on television to breathe life into this fucking lame ass sport up here in Canada, and teams that have no hope, because that guy can sell merch out the asshole. Ottawa Senators will never not have money. If they move down to LeBreton Flats and Ryan Reynolds is in charge of this team and he's the principal owner, that is going to be the franchise that everybody will want to play. And it's not like having Drake be the owner of the Raptors. This is a good person. This guy's not a gangbanger like Drake. This guy isn't a fucking cretin like Drake. He is a really good human being. And he's also just this fucking incredible business mind, which makes me love him and hate him at the same time, because he has everything. And it drives guys like me nuts, where you're like, wait a second. This guy's super good looking. He's super funny. He's a great business guy. He is altruistic. He owns a fucking mobile company, a gin company. He owns a soccer team. Now he wants to buy an NHL team. We need to get more guys like that into ownership in the NHL. That's fucking awesome. That I would become because I'm no longer a Leafs fan, like no longer at all. I'm out.
I'd be a Sens
Totally
fan.
out. I would become a Sens fan. I bet you the entire country would go, "Oh, that's our team now."
I bet you the Leafs are shaking in their boots right now. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment right now, looking at this, going, "We're fucked." If
what actor can we get to buy into our team? That's
Yeah.
what they're thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
Sorry, Locke. Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. Apparently, he bought that soccer team, and it's a bit of a joke. He bought it without telling Blake Lively.
Mhm.
Did you hear that? Like,
Well, have you seen Welcome to Wrexham?
No.
Oh,
I haven't seen that show.
it details the whole thing. Yeah, he's like, he didn't tell her. He's like, bought a soccer team. She's like, oh, that's nice. You take the kids out to the pool, have a nice swim.
He was in the doghouse for a couple of weeks. Apparently, she wouldn't talk to him.
Yeah, he was. And then on top of it, he bought the land it was on, him and Rob, for like £7.5 million. Rob McElhaney, his partner, and also didn't tell her that either. And just got off the phone. He's like, all right, we bought the whole stadium now. This is great.
It's and that team is now flourishing because of the injection of money into it from Ryan Reynolds. We talked about Ryan this morning because of the Spirited, which is a take on A Christmas Carol with Will Ferrell, and it's apparently a musical. And they just did a clip, a promo tease for it. And they had Milli Vanilli involved. I don't know if you were going to play that or if you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, I got it. Let's watch it right now. Well, you want to watch it before you get to your point?
Well, I'll quickly throw my point out. But we talked about whether or not, as Canadians, we're enamored by Ryan Reynolds, and if we talk about Ryan Reynolds, and as much as we do, because we bring him up once or twice a month, all the time, and I'm wondering if that's the same thing down in the States, or if he sort of flies under the radar down there a little bit. He's a movie star, but I don't know if people realize who the guy is. Like, as
here in Canada?
In Canada, we know what he is. We know he owns the gin company. We know he owns the cell phone company. We know he bought a soccer team. We talk about him all the time. He gives back to the food bank constantly. He's this guy, right? And
he gives millions of dollars to Indigenous communities for make work like projects as well. Yeah, he's just a fucking good human,
just a great guy all the way around. But my point being was, I don't know if he's talked about like we talk about him in Canada, in the States, and around the world. I wonder if people know about him, because you were surprised as soon as I heard he was going to buy the Ottawa Senators. I was like, he's got the money. We know he does. He's loaded. He could probably pay cash for the damn thing. And
he's only got 150 million in cash on hand. That's it. So he's going to have to come up with about $1 billion more. No big deal. You can just leverage everything.
You just choose from leveraging companies.
Reynolds, phone me. I'll give you tips.
Well, that's the incredible part about that guy, right? Like, guys like us. And I remember when I was in radio, you make a lot of money when you do morning radio in certain markets, and you work for 4 hours a day, and you're like, this is the best. This is all I want to do. I don't have to do anything. I get like my afternoons off. I get like basically 3-day weekends and stuff. And then I'm like, I should have Ryan Reynolds did during that time. I should have purchased a bunch of different companies. I should have invested in a couple of different things, and I didn't do it. Right now, it's different. You look back and you're like, whatever. But like, he had the forethought to say, I don't want to just be an actor. I want to be a business owner. I want to affect change. I want to help people in my
he knows that's not going to last.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is fucking incredible. Like,
and it's still lasting too, which is the funny part.
I know.
It's not. It's actually getting better for him. Yeah, and I think it's got a lot to do with the attitude. And I think about the attitude you had when you heard that Elon Musk was buying Twitter. Everybody's like, "What the fuck?" You could hear Ryan Reynolds is buying anything. You'd be like, "Good for him. That's fucking great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'll check that out." Because he's not putting his name behind anything bad. Like, he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, I would love it if he bought the Sens.
I would too.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Ashley, your wife said Ryan and I are swingers, but only with Blake and Ryan. Now, if they'll just answer my messages, cool would that be, right? Unfortunately, you'd have to see Ryan's dinger, though. That would be a shame.
Oh, I wasn't saying who I was sleeping with.
Oh, you might sleep with Ryan. You like him that much.
I do. I love that guy. He's fantastic.
I do too.
I might bend the rules for that guy.
Would you really?
Old Liz switching teams.
Might have to switch. Hey, I become a Sens fan right away.
Yeah, me too. I would, dude. I need a team. I'm out on the Leafs, even though they won last night 5-3 or 5-2.
Yeah, the parade's back on.
Yeah, Johnny T with 3 goals, 4 points last night. We're winning the cup again. Don't you know that? That was the
Guys
rumor
are out
last night.
stomping out their flaming jerseys.
They've won
No,
one
put
of
it out,
5.
put it out.
They won 1 of 5, and the guy that burned his fucking Marner jersey sitting there going, "Fuck, I kept it. Fuck, what a waste of money." Anyway, here's the trailer for Spirited, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. And again, I mean, this is marketing like nobody does, right? It's just fucking absolutely brilliant.
Will and I are so excited for you to see our movie musical, Spirited. Now, we want to dispel the rumors that we didn't do all the singing ourselves. This is 100% pure Ryan and Will here.
Hold on a second.
Sorry, Ryan. It's been a long time since I've done this. I thought you sounded great, Ryan. Thank you, Will. Nailed it.
There you go.
So good.
There you go. He's got a little Milli Vanilli
Just
in there.
brilliant.
The world's greatest. Just fucking awesome. Like nobody
And
else
you know
would
what?
do that.
When I see his stuff, it's not. How do you, it's not that complicated, right?
Mm-mm.
Like it
It's
just
all wit.
it's just yeah. It's not. He's not going to win any awards for that, right? Like, but all this stuff is just really, really funny. Like it just and you watch it and you go, why wouldn't I have thought of that? Like that's the stuff that I think makes it so interesting, is that it's a really, really simple concept, right? They're singing and dancing.
Yeah.
How can we make that he's just a great writer. And apparently he does all that on his own. He's got a team, right, that comes in and films the gin spots and all the and
Those are
he's got
fucking awesome too.
But apparently he is actually a big part of the writing process, from what I've heard. And have you guys watched that Letterman? My next guest needs no introduction or something. The Netflix.
Yeah, with
thing?
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Did you watch that one? Yeah. It's interesting that he has issues with anxiety. Which I thought was.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people that are front and center that are so good at that are capable of being able to deliver something in front of people when they know other people are watching, which is usually everybody's worst fear is public speaking. It's amazing how many people like him that are really good at it are afraid of it, but they do it, right? Because they know that that's how they have to do stuff. They know that listen, if I'm going to be successful, I got to get out there and do it. And once they start doing it, they're okay. But it's the lead up to it. It's like, what if this sucks? What if this is no good? I feel that all the time. Like it's amazing before each show how sweaty I get. My back gets sweaty. My palms get sweaty. And this is just a fucking internet show where 3 guys are yamming around about dumb shit, right? Like it shouldn't really matter. And I don't know if it changed when we got like clients. I don't know if it's never changed for me. It's always been one of those things where I have to take a fucking major deep breath. And I was like this when I was on the radio too, where I would get there and I would have to take a deep breath and just pretend that no one's listening, pretend that I'm talking to one person, pretend that I'm just there to have a good time. I had to pretend that there was no one on the other end of this, that I was just doing this for me. And if I did this for me, it would go well. And it obviously did until it didn't. But the best part about that is that it was like a calluses that you build up. And a lot of people don't get to that point, right? When they're dealing with anxiety and stress or PTSD, is the fear of that feeling or that panic. It invades you. It makes like your whole, everybody feels it's like if you've ever been triggered, it's the same feeling. It's that excitement. And when you watch that special on Ryan Reynolds, or you know a little bit about him, he deals with it all the time. So many of us do, but he has a way of coping with it, right? Like he's got a way of dealing with it. And that's just by getting out and doing it. And when it's over, it gets a little easier every time. But to that point, I think we're all like that a little bit, right? I think we all have fear of the unknown, fear of not meeting certain expectations, whether yours or others. And one of the things I got out of that too is Ryan Reynolds was so fucking empathetic. Like he's like, I don't want to disappoint anybody. And you see that in Welcome to Wrexham when you watch the series. Like, we really want to help the community. Like, it's very, very, very authentic the way he lives, right? So to hear him talk about that, which all of us have, right? All of us have some level of anxiety in our lives. We just don't talk about it.
And we don't know how to channel it sometimes. And guys like him and you, if that was the way it was, then you just knew how to channel that energy that as some people would look at it as negative, that kind of motivated you. That motivates Ryan. It sounds like, I don't want to talk for him, but it's a matter of, and that's a coping mechanism for the anxiety is knowing that you know how to at least wrangle it and beat it down and make it work for you, right? And obviously it's working well for him. So I'm proud of him as a Canadian. I'm just so happy that
I think everybody should be. It's interesting. My daughter, the dancer, the ballerina, who's in Vancouver now teaching, she's switched gears. She's gone from the performance side of things to teaching. She's teaching at a little studio in New West and loving it. And we always we've had talks about her quite often, the wife and I, over the years because of her anxiety issues. Never once performance based. Never. It was always social. She step out, dance all day long, never had a problem. Doesn't matter, 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people, talk on the radio with dad, never any issues at all about anything performance related. Meeting new people, any kind of, her new job, any kind of change in her life that revolves around social stuff. That's where her anxiety comes from. And so, just lots of talk and how to figure it out. So, and I don't think Ryan Reynolds has anxiety issues revolving around performance.
No,
right?
Social. Like when he goes into rooms and he meets new people, it's the same thing, but he does get it when he's in front of a group of people. But if he's on stage, he doesn't really get it. Like if he's in front of a camera, he doesn't get it. It's kind of the same thing as like,
weird.
Once you get a mic, once the microphone turns on, like once the microphone's on, everything kind of falls off. You know that, right? The microphone goes on. This is your comfort zone. This is where I am. This is where I feel my best. And you forget about it. It's all the other stuff. It's false evidence appearing real, fear, right? Like the idea that your future thinking and your expectations aren't going to meet everybody else's expectations. And then you do this thing where my dad calls it stinking thinking. I think it's called future worry, where you're like, it's because my dad's old school, where you're like, this person's not going to like me. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm not interested in that conversation. I just want to get out of here. And you know where it comes from? Imposter syndrome. It's fucking wild. I learned that over the past few years. It's this idea that and it's because you don't like yourself. That's the truth. It's wild because you walk into that room and you project the visual you have of yourself in that moment. And Ryan Reynolds should feel better about himself than most people should on this planet.
He should feel better than anybody on the planet.
Yeah, I would if I was him.
Definitely.
Yeah, but he still feels like that, and everybody deals with it. And it's such a common thing that we never talk about as people, right? Like we never sit around and go, hey, I'm having a hard time today. I don't feel like myself today. Or I'm feeling down today. Or I'm feeling frustrated today. Or I'm feeling like I'm jammed up in my own skin. I get that a lot where you're like, I can't sit. I can't stand. You're pacing. You don't know if you should go for a walk or whatever.
No focus. Yeah.
Yeah. No focus. You can't concentrate on anything. And there's nothing worse you can do when you're a creative person than not being able to focus on what you're being creative at. So for a lot of people, it's life or death, right? It's like, people that get out of the radio industry, people that get out of media industry, and they feel like, listen, I can't write something or put something out there because all you're thinking about is what someone's going to think about you when you do it and how it's going to be perceived. And then you start going, fuck, should I send this? Should I hit send? Should I press record? Because what if someone doesn't like it? What if someone doesn't like me? What if something happens? And then that's how you decide whether or not you're going to fucking go for it or whether or not you're going to go home. And it's very difficult for a lot of people, including me, that social anxiety where you're like, I don't want to walk into a room full of people, have them judge me.
I'm very lucky that way.
Know who I am.
Never had.
You're getting way better at that though, Dean. Like if just from an outsider, somebody that's known you for a few years now and seeing it, knowing that you were like, you wouldn't go to anything before. And now like, I think you've actually gotten better in the time that I've known you, let alone over the last 5-10 years.
Listen, you can't get
social
me
butterfly.
Yeah.
You're
You
social butterfly.
I'm good. I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah,
don't have that issue.
I always like to think that just remember, like think about how I always say how my dog looks at me. Maybe I am that guy. The way my dog thinks I am, maybe I am a bit of that guy. I'll give myself that bit of a pep talk and that credit when I'm feeling that way, like inside. Like, your dog thinks you're a good dude. Yeah, you know what he does. Maybe I am a bit of a good guy. Because dogs are the best judge of character, I think.
I also have some advice. I think more people need to be like me, and just you don't give two flying fucks about what people think of you.
Correct. Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, it's a good mix. You got to find that mix, right?
And that's it. He's laughing. He's laughing, and it sounds hardcore because it's coming from Locke. But he's 100% right.
It's true.
The key to happiness in this life, and I will say this to anybody that I talk to, anybody that I work with, key to happiness in this life is knowing what you control and what you do not. What you control and what you do not. Someone else says something about you, thinks something about you, you'll never fucking control that. So why would you donate any negative energy to it? Why would you care?
I figured that out a long time ago.
Well, I know you did, but that's just a natural thing inside you where you don't give a fuck, right? You're lucky. You have that yak sensibility. There are people who won't leave their house for years because they think someone might give them side eye, or they don't feel good about their hair. No word of a lie.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, fuck, I can't leave. Can't get out of
You know what I've been struggling with lately is when I have conflict with people, I will quite often this is turning into a sharing circle. You guys okay with this?
Yeah.
So what I've always done is I've literally and again, I hope people don't think I'm exaggerating here. I have never had any problem in my life cutting somebody out that is causing me any sort of emotion that I don't care for. So any kind of negative. But the thing that I've learned about myself, and again, this is going to sound egotistical, is I go out of my way not to create those situations. And I think I do a pretty decent job of that. I mean, there are times when I was definitely part of the problem, and I can accept responsibility for that. But for the most part, if you work or know Lachlan, I am, and you hear about a conflict, I can affect, I can honestly tell you, I probably didn't start it. I may have ended it, and I may have done something to make it worse, but I don't go out of my way every day to screw with people, right? And I mean that. I swear to everybody that I mean that. But what ends up happening is quite often, because of how I interact with people and how I've chosen to eliminate certain people from my life because I don't like the energy that they bring me, I get blamed all the time. And I've just learned to use this. I just learned to live with this. And that's one thing that I've been struggling with. If you end up talking to somebody that I used to work with, they will probably tell you that I was a problem. And then I go, but hold on. I wasn't a problem. I just basically, in my day-to-day existence, I brought out the people that were an issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can I give you an observation about it? Yeah. That just from the time that I've known you, you don't have patience for, and I can see it. You don't start the problem. You just want it to be over and get it the fuck out. Like, stop, shut the fuck up. We're done. You're an idiot. I'm fucking not dealing with this, or I'm dealing with it this way. So yours becomes more brash, and it does. It literally puts an end to the problem, which is the resolution that everybody wants. But the only thing they remember is the guy that did that, right? So then that makes you the bad guy, even though you weren't the one that introduced the problem. I'm the same way. You and I are the same when it comes to that. Yeah. I'm
you just want to get the fuck out. Yeah.
Get the fuck over it, everybody. Yeah. And nobody has the balls to stand up and say, well, you're being a fucking idiot. They're all like, well, we can listen to that guy. And it's like, no, shut up. Let's finish it. Let's find that resolution. I'm the same as you, Locke. I totally, that entire thing you just said resonated right with me. I don't start the problem, but I'm the bad guy because I finished it. I totally get it.
It gets brought up occasionally, and Jimmy's this way with me all the time on the show. Jimmy was like, he blames everything for me. his entire family blames me for everything that goes wrong. I've never even met half of them, but they blame me for everything. And if there's any sort of conflict in the building, somehow it's my fault. And I've just learned to accept it, even though it's not true. And I
Never.
it's
Never.
okay. I don't go to work, like I said, and go,
Looking for
all
a
right,
problem."
today
Yeah,
I'm gonna make Dean's
fight.
life a living hell, and I'm gonna piss him off.
Okay, so let me
I
ask you
may-
something.
I
When we
may
start the
uninten-
podcast today, and I'm trying to get Robb Wells set up,
That's
and I'm like, "Hey guys, just give me a second so I can just talk to Rob, talk him through the shit." And you're like, "Grab an antenna," and I go, "Hey, Locke, can you just give me a minute?" That's that moment right now where you're putting pencils on your head, like the pencils are gonna work. I'm like, "Can you just give me a minute, Locke?" And you're like, "No, let me lick this fork," and go, "Put a fork in the air, Diener." And I'm getting frustrated. I'm trying to do it. And you're like, "You wouldn't stop. You're just like me." I get it. But what I'm saying is that you've just absolved yourself of any wrongdoing ever by saying, "I never
was
do
pretty good,
anything
eh?
why but I
was
do
good.
end it." Yeah.
why I
you're
love
there.
it.
good.
You're in, yeah, it's fucking. At first, like for the first 5 minutes of that, where you're like, everybody else fucks with me. I never do anything wrong. I'm like, all right, we'll see if you can keep this up for the next couple minutes. And as you said, I never do anything wrong for the 5th time. I was like, let's just go back with the picture evidence of you doing everything wrong all the time. And so it's not like you're fucking perfect, but I get what you're saying is that when you get into it and someone escalates, you're like, I don't feel like escalating. For me, I'm not where you're at, right? But here's the great part of that is, like I say to other people when they shit post me and I give them pictures of Jesus Christ ripping up the tunic, showing his little butt cheeks. Here's the thing is you can either choose to meet them in their emotion or you can choose to go, I ain't doing this. Not interested. This week, we let go of a writer. This writer, long story short, doesn't matter, not with us for a long period of time. The several vitriolic emails I got because I didn't understand what the person wanted from us because we wouldn't do what they wanted us to do. Long story short, very inflammatory stuff. I wasn't really prepared to put it up. I'm like, can't do it. I got a series of emails this week. Like fuck you, blah, 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 cowardly, all this stuff. It was someone that we worked with. And I'm like, all right, have a great day. And then another series of emails. I'm like, that's fine. Do what you got to do. Those are my replies. I don't deal with it either. But what I don't do anymore is go, fuck you, piece of shit. Fuck, like there's no pound of flesh there for you. None. Because I truly don't care. Other people, the way they act has nothing to do with me. Zero. So if I'm in something and someone has an issue and they get emotional, I do the same thing you guys do, but I don't go, fuck you, I'm out, you bitch. Or fuck you, I'm out, you asshole. Or I don't block people for it. I just walk away. And I let
stay in
them
the same lane you're in.
Yeah. And it drives people fucking crazier because not only are you not competing with them in that moment, you're saying, hey, bud, you're on your own. I'm happy to watch you lose your marbles right in front of me because it's a favorite pastime of mine, but I'm not competing with you. I'm not taking part of this stuff. That's your emotional issue, not mine. And it takes a long time to get there. Am I perfect? Close. Not quite. But there's nothing in it for me. Like
that's my
respond to that.
That's my next thing that I need to work on, because if somebody does throw like gasoline on something, you know, right? Like and tries to escalate it. What I do is, quite often, this happens a lot in my life, is I will be more aggressive. I'll be louder. I'll be a bigger dick. I've said this out loud to my kids. I've said this to
do you know why you do
lots
that?
What? No. Why?
I'll tell you why, real quick.
Because I'm an asshole?
No, because you don't trust yourself when you get angry. You don't. So you want to come out hard and you want it to be over and you want to extricate yourself from the situation because you don't trust your emotions. That's
really not a bad take.
Yeah, you're like,
that's
how that's how I am. Like I needed to get to this point for myself because I was tired of going to the grocery store and having some guy go, we're out of plastic bags. You want paper? And for me to go, how about you go fuck yourself, paper boy?
See, that's not.
You know what I mean? Like I was tired of overreacting when other people would overreact. I'm like, I'm not playing the emotional game with those people anymore. I'm out. And over the past 2 or 3 years, all I've done is watch. Don't care. You can yell, you can scream. And I was the worst at it. Like I would come in hard, like, Belle would call me and go, we're having a problem with your, oh yeah, well, you're going to give me free fucking Wi-Fi for the rest of my fucking life, or I'm going to fucking come down there with a bat. Where are you? Like I would do that stuff. It's like,
Sounds like
why
Locke.
bother? Now when they call me, I'm
Locke.
like, I'm just going to move over to Rogers. And they're like, oh, you know what? Don't do that. Okay, well, let me know how it goes and send me a bill and we'll figure it out for you.
I am calmer overall. But if I get into a situation where conflict is like where anger or somebody is showing me that kind of energy, I'm better at it than most people. And so I've always pulled that card, and I've said this to I've said this to my girls. Do we want to do this dance? I'm a way better asshole than you. I'm better at it. I've been doing it much longer, so we can do this dance. Right? My oldest
get emotional,
and I,
Lachlan.
my oldest and I butt heads quite often, and I've
I
had
like
to say
your
that to her a couple of times.
I like your theory about it being afraid of your response, your long game response, because it's true. I think about we had a scenario in our family in the last couple of years, and it was the same thing. It was like, I need this to stop before it will never get repaired. It will not be repaired. I will burn this to the fucking ground.
Right.
And it was one of those, it took a lot not to burn it to the ground. And I was afraid of doing that while doing it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I totally get it. I totally get that.
You know, it's funny because like I have familial relationships like that too. And I remember one of them had upset me or pissed me off. No, I didn't. Wasn't James. James is coming on the show with us next week because you unblocked him, by the way. Congratulations. Was it James? You can't stop it. You can't help yourself. In our chat, Lachlan wants to know who it was I fired this week, and I won't tell him. And he's always had this thing for James, who, by the way, you blew him up real good yesterday. He called me last night. He was so happy you loved his last podcast with Jesse Brown.
It was really good.
Fucking awesome. Yeah. So he calls me last night all emotional. He's like, I can't believe it. I might get my friends back. And I'm like, let's hold your horses. He just unblocked you. Hold your horses. Anyway, no, it's not James. It's not that.
See, and there's a perfect example. I think most people that know about that conflict probably think I'm the bad guy.
You were.
Yeah, we all get. Yeah, you get most of the hate online because of that, just from the outsiders watching it, and they don't understand the actual scenario.
Yeah, again, I go back to that whole thing. Is like he upset you, pissed you off. You don't trust your response to him because you're reading him a certain way, and you're like, I don't trust myself. I cannot have him in my life today because I don't want to be angry. I don't want to walk around triggered. I don't want to be pissed off. And that's why we act the way we act. That's why we come out so strong and freak out and act like tools all the time when there's something in front of us that we can't get on top of. Instead of grabbing the smooth handle, we grab the rough handle and go, fuck you, let's fight, as opposed to going, tell me more.
Yeah. By the way, I have not unblocked Sea Witch yet.
Yeah, she's upset by that too. She's been in the chat
okay
all
with
day
that.
going, I wonder when I'm getting unblocked.
I like how she said unblock. She actually
Unblock
spells
me,
it
Locke.
unblotch, like Lachlan's name. That's I think it's becoming a verb.
Yeah.
L-O-C-H.
Block. Block.
But
is
again,
spelled with
can
an
I say
C and
this?
H.
Can I say this out loud? I mean, and I'm dead serious about this. And I think more people need to do this. And this is probably a better time to bring it up than bringing it up in yesterday's conversation with Esther. But if you've got something happening in your life that's causing you turmoil, that's disrupting your day, if you've got negative energy from the people around you, remove them, somehow find a way to get them out of your lives so that you're not dealing with their negative energy. And if maybe you're better at it than me, I still haven't figured out how to change people's negative energy, like how to switch it.
You don't.
And like,
how do you? For instance, like that's the thing is like that is where I needed to get, which is where everybody needs to get, where other people can say, hey, listen, this is how I am. Go fuck yourself. And you go, yeah, I want nothing to do with you then. Like that's about managing your inputs. That's not nothing wrong with you. You don't like being around negative people. Neither do I.
Yeah.
That's why I'm single. because the person I was with was like, everything was wrong all the time. Everybody was dumb. Everything is stupid. And I'm like, I'm out. I can't fucking live with someone that talks like this all the time. And everybody's dumber than her. And this is terrible. And blah, 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 blah. Dude, you're never going to control any of those people. The only thing you can control is yourself. Right. And so when it comes to like literally taking those inputs and saying, those people aren't allowed in my life, people will say to you, you shouldn't cut people off. That is bullshit. That is absolute
so
garbage. You can cut off, and it's cutting off people you love and doing it selfishly that's a problem. This life is about managing your inputs. Like, I don't get back to people because I manage my inputs. I get back to the people I want to get back to because I manage my inputs. I don't allow people in my life that I know are incredibly negative, and I don't hang out with those people anymore because I manage those inputs. Marcus Aurelius said, and I say this all the time, you know, your soul has died. You will become what you think. The soul has died with the color of your thoughts. If you're around people all the time that hate everything, what do you think you're going to feel? You're going to feel like, so in your dude, you are right on. And so is Ryan. Two things. It's about managing your emotion, managing how you know that you don't trust yourself because you're not there emotionally. Great idea to extricate yourself from the situation or the people. The other part is, why the fuck would you be friends with someone who's a dick? Why would you subject yourself to a party full of people you don't enjoy being with because you don't get anything out of them, because they're negative, they're wasted, they're assholes? Why would you go to a party where half the room is full of people that you don't identify with and that don't feed into your life positively? There's no point. So manage those inputs. That's totally okay.
There are people out there. Can I just jump in here, Lindsay? And then, there are people out there, though, and you're kind of one of them. As much as you're saying this, Dean, I've always been very impressed with your ability to handle negative energy from other people and not let it impact your day. And I think that's something that's fairly new to you. And you go a lot further with negative situations than I think a lot of people would, just based on, I think, your ability to handle it. But there are people out there that are very good at dealing with negative people and not letting it impact their day and having a positive impact on those people. And again, I know a couple, and I've stopped saying to them, "Why do you hang out with that? Like, why?" They feel like they need to. And again, I have a friend who does this all the time. Actually is quite critical of me for removing people, like for cutting things out of my life that I'm not happy with, and has said so to me a couple of times, right? And because I'm like, literally, I've been at his place and he's had a friend of his come over that just basically, you can feel the energy. He just sucks life out of the entire room in the world, and it's literally 25 circle around him. And this guy would come into a party and go, "All right, see you guys later," and I would literally get in my car and drive away.
Perfect.
And I commented multiple times to him, "Why do you let that guy come around?" And he's like, "Because I have to. I can't,
because you'll have nobody." Yeah, you know what? And that's a disservice to him. That's a disservice to him, because everybody who's that big of a cock needs to be alone in their cockness for a certain period of time before they go, "What am I doing wrong? Like, why don't I have any fucking friends? Why does everybody seem to disappear from?" Well, it's because of something you're doing, you dumb fuck. Yeah. Like, it's literally that simple. And if my kid who was in the ninth grade,
a lot of
what's
times.
What's that?
A lot of times they don't see it, though.
Yeah, I know they don't see it, and they don't see it because they're selfish and they're victims. They go back to the victim mentality, dude. We've watched it on the stage for the past 2 weeks of the Emergency Act hearing. Everything's everybody else's fault. Conflict. Yeah. That guy did this to me.
Conflict is more interesting than normalcy, and a lot of these people, if you're gonna stray that way, is they had a boring life right up until they had something to be angry about, and that's just their baseline. They're always that negative. Conflict is more interesting. You all know those people that how you doing today? Shit. How was your ride into work today? Shit. Awesome. How was that meal? I've had better. You know, like, everything is negative because it's more interesting than just saying good. It's just it's more interesting. It's almost like they need to come up with some sort of a story. Meanwhile, they don't realize they're really annoying as fuck to everybody around them. Going, fuck, here we go again.
You know, anytime someone sends me a note and they ask me how I'm doing, I say, great, how are you? They're like, not great. The first thing in my head is, I'm
Don't
done.
reply. Yeah, I got to get out of this. Shit, the other line.
Yeah. Or when you're in a conversation with someone, you meet him, you're like, hey, I'm Dean. You're like, hey, I'm Mike. How you doing, Dean? I'm like, I'm great. How are you? Not great. You're like, all right, Mike, see you later. I do that all the time. I went on a date, like a physical date a year ago. A date. Meet this lady for coffee. Really nice, very attractive. She bought me a coffee because I was late. As always, a little bit late. Couldn't get there on time. She's like, can you meet at 4? I'm like,
No,
but
no, I
around
can't.
there. Yeah, it's not in me. So I get there and I'm like, hey, how you doing? She goes, good. I got you coffee. I go, great. I go, do you mind if I go put some sweetener and cream in it and I'll be right back? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, like that.
I can feel it.
So I go put cream and sugar in and I sit back down and I'm like, hey, great to meet you. Good to see you again. How are things? Not great. Oh, yeah. Why's that? Well, my ex is this and the kids are that. And this happened to my car. And it was like literally 6 minutes. I was there for 6 minutes.
Oh my God.
She goes to take a breath. I take the top, put it on my coffee, and I go, nice to see you. Talk to you later. And I walked out.
Thanks for getting this in a to-go cup.
Just walked out. Yeah. Thanks for getting a to-go cup, second cup. And I literally just walked out and got a couple texts back. Wasn't interested in talking to her. Didn't even bother. And someone will say to me, well, that's rude. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I saved her time. I saved me time. And what's more is I don't have any of that up here that I have to think about all the time.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, who fucking gets that angry? Who meets a guy and is like, I want to curate a relationship, but let me tell you how much of a cock my ex-husband is first.
Yeah. Or like at least be upfront in making the plans for me to take time out of my day. If I'm going to come to be your therapist, you better fucking tell me before I show up. Because if you fucking sandbag me saying we're going for a nice cup of coffee and I show up and all of a sudden I'm fucking
I gotta
Fraser
listen to
Crane.
you complain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
complaining,
fuck that.
dude,
Yeah,
like
fuck.
complaining, complaining is the most, complaining about anything is useless. Like it's just the dumbest shit. Complaining about how you feel, useless. Complaining about what other people do, useless. Complaining about the way that your life is and how it's other people's faults. I've watched that on the stand for, I don't know, 2 weeks. It's everybody else's fault. Can't believe they made me act like that. I wouldn't have acted like that if you guys had some sympathy for us going through
still
lockdowns.
going on?
You're like, fuck, all of us are going through the lockdowns, you dumb fucks. That's why I hate them so much, is because I am this way. Those people are just fucking walking bags of meat full of excuses. That's all they are to me. That's it. They're a fucking life force drain on every single person.
Vampires.
I get about 20 of these a week. This is from our comment section. Subject,
crazy.
Vax with 3 X's. I'm going to read this to you. How's the Vax with 3 X's treating you? You made fun of me, a pureblood, yet proof that you vexers, I'm a vexer, were idiots and totally wrong and marched like fools to your vax shots. You could have done what you wanted and taken your shot and kept your big mouth closed, but instead you had to make fun of those intelligent people who did their homework, who didn't want to take the death jab. Now look, it's just like another one of those idiots who looked like their poison shot. Vengeance is beautiful. I don't even know what that means.
Real?
That's
that
a
real?
real dude. I
That
get
came
like
to the
10 of those a
website.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
That's
get
not,
those a lot.
that's not a bot thing.
No,
No.
that's a real human being named Kat. No word of a lie. K-A-T. Kat. I didn't put her. I can give you your email address, dude. I get those every week, and I am me now to the point where I'm like, I just see mental illness or emotional illness or legitimate IQ issues. That's all I see. I see gamers. I see people that are just like so fucking wrapped up in their own stupidity that I look at it like it's in binary. You know, in the Matrix, where you see the Matrix, I'm just like, whoosh, that's all I see. I see chess pieces of content. And that's because it's how I've fucking taught myself to think, which is none of that matters to me. I got no issue with them. They're on the outside looking in. And when they say to me, you think you're better than me? I smile and I say, I know I am. I know I am. You know why? Because I'm self-aware and I understand when I do something wrong, what that means and what I have to do. And I don't have imposter syndrome anymore because I walk around knowing I'm one person. I'm not this dickhead on the internet and then someone else in real life. You guys know me well enough to know that.
Yeah.
And
no,
that's
exactly.
what they
This is the
suffer
same
from.
Dean you get out there, just so everybody knows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exact
It's the
same.
exact same guy.
I'm no different. And it'll never fucking change. And those are the people you're talking about in your life and in my life and in all of our lives that want to make you feel badly for them. Those are victims. We live in the greatest. This is an era.
epidemic.
You know how the golden age, or you had the iron age, or the bronze age, the Victorian age, the tech age in the 80s and 90s, the boom.
Yeah.
We live in the victim age.
Where
You've got
That's
a
really good point.
small group of people, and you know what? It is always a great. You're never going to save them. You're not going to control them. Cut them out, mock them, troll them, make fun of them.
I don't know.
Don't
you know
take them
why?
seriously.
Do you
I
know
don't
why?
if that's the best strategy.
It is. It's way
Do you
more
know
fun.
why that most of them, when you hear them talk,
Parents are related.
they're down on like the trans community, the gay thing. They're anti-Semitic. Do you know why? Because
They
those
want
people
cock.
get attention because of a negative thing that happened to them. So they want that same attention.
That's right.
They're literally jealous of
All the cock.
actual victims, like actual like real victims, people that were
Yeah.
victimized by something that was real.
I was
and they
laughing
want to
because
make
sorry,
the
go
age
ahead.
of narcissism.
no, they want to make their issue on the same level as somebody that's fought bigotry or racism. That's
Right.
why they hate them so much, and that's why they're so anti-Semitic and racist and fucking full of vitriol against any other targeted community, because they're not getting the same attention that targeted community gets. And it's so transparent, like it's like cling film, like
Well,
it's
and
hard
and
to
the other thing is what they
ignore.
do is
Film.
they
Remember?
make their cause
It's a little
and-
British.
and their cause, and they try to compare it to things in the past.
Yeah.
To try
Yes.
to give what they're doing some sort of significance.
Oh,
right?
like
credibility,
the
yeah.
like the Nuremberg
Nuremberg
trials that were
trial.
apparently going on.
The perfect example. Perfect fucking. They literally conflate
Yeah.
the two fucking things together because
Yeah.
they're so messed up in their own brain, thinking they're a victim, just like the Jews and
Nazis. Yeah.
the Nazi Germany. Yet you turn around and you say, "Yeah, poor Jews, eh? Fuck the Jews, fuck them."
They hate
It's
the
like,
Jews.
well, wait a minute. You just said you're Nuremberg Nazis, and then you
Yeah,
hate the
you
Jews
don't like
too.
Jews.
Like you
Yeah.
don't even know what you're doing. You know,
They don't know what
You
they're
even
doing.
know-
No, they don't. But that's the brilliant part of this. And I mean, it all comes back to this one thing in the Emergency Act and the way people are acting and the negativity and what they expect from people. And you
Yeah.
bring up a great point. It's the false equivalency that they try to drive home. One of the things that's going around, by the way, James Woods tweeted me today. After
Mhm.
James Woods.
Get out of
I was-
here.
Yeah. Super anti-vaxxer James Woods. And he's like king of the victim actors, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
This is his tweet to me. The answer to that pandemic amnesty thing, bitches, is a resounding no. And if you look, there's my tweet at the bottom on the left-hand side. There's James Wood, actor extraordinaire, not really. He's lost. He's a fucking lunatic. He hates everything, hates everybody, hates anybody who got vaccinated, thinks the fucking fix is in, and every government around the world is in it to just fuck over 90% of the population on this planet to kill us in the next 3 to 5 years. That's what he thinks.
Mhm.
So James Woods tweets this, and I'm like, hey, man, I plan on driving this amnesty bus into the lake. Thanks for hopping on. Now, the amnesty bus is this. There was an article that was written in The Atlantic where a woman wrote an article, and she's like, maybe we should have amnesty day for everybody that acted poorly during COVID. Everybody. And she was writing it from a perspective of being vaccinated. Now, the anti-vax community has victimized that whole thing where they're like, they want amnesty from all the terrible things they do to make us get vaccinated. And so that's why you're seeing vaccine amnesty trend and people saying, we're still coming for you and I'm not interested in your apologies. What you've done to us, to me, all the terrible things you've done to our community, there will be. So they've co-opted the word amnesty from this woman who was like, maybe we should all just forgive each other. They've taken the hardo portion of that, weaponized it, turned it into a victim mantra, and now it's literally a tweet storm and trend where it's like, we're going to give you all the fucking we're coming for you stuff. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. I am driving the amnesty bus into the lake at 100 miles an hour. I'm going to ride all of you until you can't be ridden anymore. And I'm going to put you in the fucking barn and I'm going to put you away wet and dirty because that's what we do. There is no amnesty for me. You guys are the biggest
there
pieces
isn't
of
from
shit on the
anybody.
planet. And not only am I enjoying this, I'm going to do it forever. Ever. It'll never end. It'll pop up here. It'll pop up there. But I'm not letting any of these cucks off the fucking line. Are you kidding me?
The only people that have offered any sort of amnesty are literally people like Danielle Smith saying, maybe we should pay the people that we put out of work while there's nobody of any sort of importance or of anywhere offering. And they've literally made this up to say they're not accepting our apology that was never issued. Like, that's the best part. It's like they're running the entire narrative.
Yeah. They just turned it around and owned it. Fucking wow.
They've gone.
Now they're
I do think
everyone.
though.
So
I do think that we do need to get to a point where we can start to have conversations about what we did right and wrong, right? And I know that's going to be a difficult task. That's going to be very challenging for anybody that attempts to do that on either side of this issue, because no matter how you get into it, no matter how you wade those waters, there's going to be an opinion about what it is you're trying to accomplish. But I hope somebody on some level is able to get in there and go, okay, all right, what happened? Because I think that's important. I understand what you're saying, Dean, and I agree with you to an extent on the amnesty thing, and it's kind of bullshit. And it's funny how it hasn't been offered yet. They're somehow against it. Like
they're refusing something they haven't been given. It's great.
No one's offered this. No one's offered this. We're mad at it anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. But I think we do need to find somebody on some level that can get into this from that, like find a doorway into this and go, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? What did they do here in Canada? What did they do in the United States? What did they do in Europe? Like, how did they handle this in other parts of and is there
if we
any
have to do it again? Yeah.
Is there any macro lessons we can learn from this? Right. And unfortunately, that is going to be tremendously difficult to do, especially if it's a politician. Like, apparently Preston Manning put up his hand and he's like, I'd like to investigate what we did right and wrong from a perspective of, and everyone's already on both sides is going, Preston Manning from
the grave.
I thought he was
from
dead.
the grave.
Yeah, did you see that? Did you see him say he was going to do an emergency act hearing with citizens of this country, Preston Manning? And I'm like, my God, that guy was dead like 5 years ago. And there he was.
Yeah.
It was like unbelievable.
We actually, that's an ongoing bit on the locker
that he's
room.
alive.
Yeah, and when we were talking about it today, we were like, "Wow, it's good to see somebody in his family named one of his grandkids Preston." And Jimmy's like, "He doesn't have any kids. You guys are assholes."
Nobody slept with Preston Manning, really?
Hard to believe.
Shocker.
Virgin? Is Preston Manning a virgin?
I
feel like he's a virgin. I think he is. He's got to be a virgin.
I think so.
So they're doing the emergency. You got to take off. You got to split. Before I go, I want to play you one clip. Before I go,
Okay.
And the reason why I want to play you this clip is because this just happened.
Oh God.
This is from the emergency. This is exactly who we're talking about. James Botter, who wrote the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, saying he wanted to arrest all the politicians and kill everybody and hang Justin Trudeau. Remember that crazy
brain
fucker?
trust.
The brain trust, the guy from Canada Unity.
Yeah.
Absolute cretin, total fucking trailer pig, super loser, a guy no one would ever hang out with.
Right.
Ever. Like a basically societal chum. That's all he is.
I like that.
He's a skin tag on humanity, James Botter. So he takes a stand. This is him being asked about the strength of the I want you to watch this. This guy is fucking this is who is in charge of the movement in Canada. In case you're feeling a little stressed out, don't be. James Botter, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
went as far as New Zealand, Australia, Paris, Belgium, Finland, and the Netherlands, right?
Thank you.
And the United Kingdom, right?
Worldwide, we had the biggest unity movement in the world. And that goes down in history. And that's all of us, Canada. Thank you for coming together in unity and showing the world what this is all about. Thank you.
Jesus.
Guy's going to jail and he's thanking people.
Look at
He's so
this guy.
fucking dumb. Seriously. You started an insurrection that went worldwide. Thank you.
It went as far as New Zealand, Australia, Paris, Belgium, Finland, and the Netherlands, right?
Thank you.
And the United Kingdom, right?
Worldwide, we had the biggest unity movement in the world. And that goes down in history.
No, it doesn't.
And
We are
that's
more divided now than we've ever
all of us,
been
Canada.
in the
Thank
history
you
of
for
our
coming together
the-
in unity
of
and
mankind.
showing the world what this is all about. Thank you.
Say that
And they
one more
believe that.
time. Say that again.
We're more divided right now than I think we probably ever have been.
Yeah.
He can't even take it. Look at him. He's trying not to laugh.
Those guys are so fucked. They are fucked.
Oh my god.
And I can't wait. Can't wait. Anyway, you got to go, Locke. Good to see you.
I do. I gotta go get Winters on that. We got to dump a snow.
You
It's
did?
sliding around. Yeah, we did. Yeah. What?
You guys were like
Edmonton.
20 degrees last week. We're 20 degrees
know.
tomorrow here.
Winter came and it showed up like yesterday. It was just like boom.
Holy shit.
It's
Yeah,
Edmonton. Never know
It
out
is.
there. Yeah.
It's
Anyway, good to see
crazy.
you.
Yeah.
Go get your snows.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right,
care.
brother. Thank you.
Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. You're welcome. At Lachlan Cross is where you can find him, and Lachlan Cross on Twitter. What's up? What's up, funny?
I got one of our listeners sent us this meme yesterday while we were just before we go because we missed out with Rob today, and we were talking about the inquiry. This killed me. It's the same picture. Watching Pat King on that stand yesterday was Ricky in that scene from Trailer Park Boys when he gets called to court.
Yeah.
If I can't smoke and swear, I'm fucked.
Fuck. We're going to lose.
I just wanted to share that. Sorry.
No, that's a great one. That's exactly what we saw yesterday with Pat King. And we didn't get to any Pat King audio. We'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
But like it's if you wanted to look at the extreme results of what we were talking about today, extreme examples of the kind of people that you don't want in your life because they just suck the life force out of you. It's about 8,000 people descended on Ottawa that suck the fucking life out of a country.
Yeah.
Like that's what they did. They are all just drains on humanity. Very few of those people are worth a conversation. Very few of those people are worth a breath, if you ask me. Very few of the people that I saw on the stands give two fucks. I mean, it's all been undressed. They hate you. They hate this country. They only like themselves. They think that you didn't go through this stuff. Every single one of those dumb fucks has said
all
the
about
same
them.
thing. This is about what you didn't do for us. So that's why we came here to hurt you. That's all they've said.
Yeah.
They've all said it. And that fucking idiot, James Botter, what we see there is exactly what we're talking about. Fake
Pat King
crocodile
laughing at
tears.
the Ottawa citizens yesterday on the stand about the horns. Just
Yeah.
laughing, like he
Pat
literally
King
laughed.
dying laughing. He didn't care either. Didn't care.
You know,
None of those guys care. Those are not people you want to have in your life, your house, or at a fucking dinner party. None of them.
No, you cross the street to stay out of the way.
Excommunicate them. What's that?
You just cross the street. You would cross the street to stay out of their way. I think it's funny. I think we became fascinated with them, and it's a source of entertainment for the other 90% of this country at this point. And I think that's the
That's all
big
it is.
driver. It's the only reason why we're paying attention is because it's actually so funny to watch. It's almost like watching a Trailer Park Boys episode. Like it's literally the comedy in real life. It's you can't write this shit. So
No. James
Anyway.
Botter just on the stand. I just found out James Botter on the stand. He was asked why he decided to start the convoy.
yeah,
Do you know what his answer was? Because God told him to.
shocker.
That's going to be hard to find evidence for, isn't it?
I wonder if they have a text. Did he donate to the convoy? Oh wait, the church doesn't give away any money. That's right.
No,
I
they
forgot.
just take it and launder it. That's what churches are for. It's brilliant. Anyway, thanks for doing this, dude. Good
I'll
to see
see
you.
you later, pal.
Ryan Lindley, Lynn's Report. Go and download his podcast anywhere you find podcasts. At Ryan Lindley on Twitter as well. That's it for us. Fuck. So pissed that Robb Wells didn't work out today, but we're going to work on getting him back. Maybe do a Spaces or something like that. It might be easier to do tonight. Maybe we'll do a Spaces at DeanBlundell.com. Twitter Spaces at It's Dean Blundell. Is that a good idea? Lynn's is telling me it's a good idea. Is it a good idea?
give me a bit of time to heads up on it, and I'll see if I can find a way to patch it in through Restream, and maybe we can actually put it out.
Restream the actual
The actual Twitter space. But let me know. Give me some time, unlike the last time you did it with Korean and gave me 8 minutes.
I don't
I
think
love
ahead.
you.
I never think ahead.
I know you
I'm
are
nice
right
to
now,
just-
though.
Yeah, I am trying.
Hold on to it.
I'm just thinking ahead on the fly. I never like plan. I need to plan better.
All right.
Terrible.
Let me know. Give me a call.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Ryan Lindley, ladies and gentlemen. And that's it for us. Have a great day. Really appreciate it. Thanks to Robb Wells for giving it a shot. Sorry we couldn't have him in. We're going to try and get Robb Wells from Trailer Park Boys in the movie Vandits coming up. There's Locke and Ryan just fucking with me. They fucked with me to start that podcast, but it was funny as hell, so it's okay. And thanks to Pam for setting it up. We'll talk about Vandits and get to Robb Wells at another time. Appreciate you being here. Don't forget, big thank you to our friends and sponsors, including our guys over at kivalaw.ca. A lot of people having a hard time getting out of legal issues today. You know, and listen, the courts are backed up. You might have something over your head. You might have done something you're not proud of and you need some help with it. Listen, defense attorneys, especially good ones, hard to find. We found one for you. You need one? kivlaw.ca. Email robert@kivlaw.ca. Rob Kivlikin, his group of defense attorneys are the best in Southern Ontario, and they will help you, guaranteed. All you have to do is email robert@kivlaw.ca. Tell him you need his help. Tell him I sent you. Super simple. Kivlaw, that's what they do at kivlaw.ca. They help people get out of trouble. Doesn't matter if you did it or not. What they want to do is make sure you learn from it and get you out as fast as you can so you can get back to the business of rehabilitating your life or getting on with the life that you want to live. So there you go, kivlaw.ca. Email robert@kivlaw.ca today. Thanks to our guys over at Ed's Fine Imports, too. His Gitch or our Gitch, and you can wear them. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. You got to try them. Gitch3 is your promo code. They've got super soft fabric. I don't even know what they're made of. Angel hair, maybe the hair of angels. And the pouch is a Canadian sized pouch. Yes, it's big enough for a Canadian man. Made in Canada by Canadians. Ed's Fine Imports has luxury branded underwear called Boxer Briefs. Gitch, GITCH3 is your promo code. Make sure you use it at your checkout when you buy 3 or more. And you, my friends, will be on the receiving end of a free pair of underwear. If it's free, it's for me. I've said it for years. Go get free from Ed's Fine Imports. And special thank you to our friends at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible as well. Easy Auto Financial. People that are in the business of helping you with your vehicles, especially with your financing, they'll get you some free financing. If you go to easyautofinancial.ca today, sign up, they will get you financing for a car that you do not have to pay for. It's pretty simple. Why would you want to do that, you ask? Because buying a car is a pain in the ass. Super pain in the ass. And you want to deal with people that'll deal with all those little pain points when you buy a car, from financing to finding your car, sourcing your car, and sending you in with fresh paperwork. That's what they do. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. No obligation. Check them out today. And officially nice to welcome in a brand new partner, Can-Torque Incorporated, Can-Torque Industrial Torque Wrenches. They've been doing this for 20 years, and they make the best in the business. Can-Torque makes rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts. They offer you the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, and custom fabrication of industrial work torque tools. No matter the scale of your bolting project, they have your solution. Visit them today at cantorque.com. Beautiful Canadian company out of beautiful Edmonton, Alberta. But they are worldwide. If you're looking for Canada's assembly tool experts, you're going to cantorque.com. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you in the next day or two. Actually, we'll see you tomorrow around 4 o'clock. Until then, we leave you with James Botter crying.
It went as far as New Zealand, Australia, Paris, Belgium, Finland, and the Netherlands, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
And the United Kingdom, right?
Worldwide, we had the biggest unity movement in the world, and that goes down in history. And that's all of us, Canada. Thank you for coming together in unity and showing the world what this is all about. Thank you.